What's up, everybody? As you guys are all jumping on here, welcome to the Funnel Drop Fridays. You know it's Funnel Drop Fridays because my background says Funnel Drop Fridays, which means something amazing is about to happen, and we're excited. I got Jake Leslie with me here, Ben
Yeah.
Moo here, and today we got some fun things for you guys. The attendee count's still adding up, so we'll roll for another minute or two before we get too deep into this. But today we may be talking about not one of the greatest funnels of all time, but what I think is actually the greatest funnel of all time because what's better than a webinar funnel, right? Can you guys think of anything better than a webinar funnel?
This is the funnel that built the house of Brunson.
This is the, this is the funnel that built the house of Brunson.
I talk about the
Now,
book of Brunson. This is the house that built the house of Brunson.
so true. I love this funnel because I think it's probably the simplest of all the funnels and the most powerful of all the funnels. You think about even things like a free book funnel are great, but it's like typically those are actually way harder. Like you have to have video and you have to have copy, and you have to have an offer, and you have to like all these things. Whereas the webinar funnel, as you guys will see here, is very simple. It's very easy. The goal is to get somebody onto the webinar, which is awesome. So. Looks like most of the people who are coming today are in. If you guys are here right now, drop in the chat, say what's up. Let us know where you're calling in from. Because me, Ben, and Jake are calling in from Boise, Idaho.
Yeah.
And you guys, is it Boise SE or ZE? How do you pronounce it? Just for the foreigners who are listening to us right now.
Oh, children. It's
I always say it
Boise.
wrong.
Boise.
Ben's from here, but my pain is because my last name is Leslie. And everyone says Jake Leslie. It's like no.
Wait, there's no Z in
So
your name?
so Boise and Leslie, we feel it. It's yeah.
It's amazing. Oh man. All right. Well, everybody, we're excited to have you guys here today. We're going to dive right in. Today we're talking about webinar funnels. This is one, as Jake said earlier, this is the one that built ClickFunnels. Was a webinar funnel. That's how we grew this thing to the business it's become, was literally through a webinar funnel. It was funny when we launched the company, we tried a lot of different types of funnels. We tried like a SaaS funnel and a trial funnel and a this funnel. And it wasn't until like the sixth funnel we launched, which was the webinar funnel, that it all took off and started exploding and growing. And so I love webinar funnels. We still do them all the time. In fact, yesterday we literally did a webinar. So I'm gonna show this. This is a webinar funnel we did yesterday. In fact, the replay should be going out later on today. How many of you guys were on the webinar we did yesterday, by the way? If you were, say I was on the webinar yesterday. So this is the webinar we did yesterday. It was the webinar on how to do auto webinars. And it's funny because this was actually live, but it's a whole funny story. But this is like literally, we still do these, like we use these almost every single week in some version. Like there's one right here. Let me pull up another one. If you go to salesfunnels.com, this happens to also be a webinar funnel. What in the world? So not only do we practice, we preach, we practice this one a lot because it's of all the funnels, I think the most simple, the most powerful. It's one we use to grow and scale our businesses. And it's gonna be a lot of fun. So today we're gonna be going in. Jake has been building and designing some really cool webinar funnels for you guys today. But they asked me at first if I would spend a little time talking about some of the strategy behind webinars and how we use them and why we use them. Anything before I jump into that you guys want to
Yeah,
talk
are we
about?
giving anybody like some swipe files today? Is that a thing?
You tell me.
Yeah, we'll kind of need to add that in, but we'll definitely have some. I have a ton just from our own webinars that we've
I
had.
see it. I
And
see
we're
it on the link we're
oh,
giving
do
people.
you?
Yes, I
Oh, we got
do.
him. I got him yesterday.
Ooh.
Should I show again? So you guys know if you are using Barnum PT, which you should be, you can build swipe files. So I build out all these cool swipe files. And because you guys are here today, this is my webinar funnel swipe file. I got 20 in here right now.
20,
Hopefully add more in the
dang.
future, but check this out. Boom, there's 20 different webinar funnels. In fact, here's the one that built ClickFunnels. Like, oh, you want to see the one that actually built ClickFunnels? Just turn it into, yeah, this is it. I built this by myself. This is before I knew Jake Leslie. This is like when I was building everything myself. And I remember doing this. I was like, I want something kind of weird and curiosity based. And so I found this picture of me from a video that was like, it was kind of weird. And then I don't know how to use Photoshop. So I just had some image editor. I was like, make it sepia. And then it made it this color. I'm like, oh yeah, that's way weirder. And so I made it weird. And my headline was weird. And like, it's just everything. And then that's the page they'd register on. Then they'd be taken to, they click up, put name, email, and taking this page right here. And then we push it down to go get a free trial of ClickFunnels, get a copy of the book. And then when they would buy the webinar, this was the order form. So
Oh man, that order form is classic. That one was
I
that was
remember,
around for a very, very long time.
I remember building this thing.
I loved that
I
one.
remember writing the copy for this thing. This is back in the
The
days, but it was very,
the
very
weight that this funnel held on its shoulders is unbelievable. Like you would never know that, but yeah, pretty awesome.
It did a lot. And then here's like the last secrets when we did in November. We did the last secret. This webinar did very, very well. So there's an example of that webinar funnel in here. Anyway, so we're gonna give you guys the swipe file so that as you guys are building out your funnels, you can look at not just one, two, but like a whole bunch of really good ones. Here's Frank Kern's webinar funnel. Like, oh, you want to see Frank's? There's what his looks like. You want to see who else has we got in here? Agora. You know, they only do $1.5 billion a year. You probably want to check out this. This was their highest grossing webinar they ever did. It was when Bitcoin was popping, and in 2018, this webinar, I don't remember the exact numbers, but it was like 30 to 40 million dollars. Like it was like the record for the most made in a webinar ever. And I happened to swipe to grab it for you guys. So you'll get this as well to see like the actual yeah, to see how Agora, the biggest of all in our space, how they do a webinar funnel. Like anyway, there it is right there. So you guys will have that in your swipe file. I forgot about this webinar. It's so good. It even has the sales letter on the back end. Anyway, so there's that one and a whole bunch more. If you guys want these funnels, let me know in the chat because I don't have to. I mean, we don't have to share them, but if you guys are interested, let us know. I want you guys to. I want to blow this thing. I want to feel good about me giving you something that I still have been building forever. All right, you guys are freaking out. Sweet. Brian Moran's funnel, digital marketers funnel. This is Dan Henry's funnel. So yeah, all these swipe files we'll give you guys at the end as well. If you got a Barnum account, it'll go and it'll plug it in here. If you don't have a Barnum account yet, you can get one for free by going to barnumpt.com. And it's a free plugin. You can install, and so you can install it. So if you don't have that yet, go to Barnum PT and install that. We'll probably show you. I bet Ben's gonna. I'm hoping. I'm preceding this. Ben may show how to use Barnum to write copy today. I don't even know what the. Anyway, we'll find out as we get into this. But yeah. So there you go.
Can I say something really fast? Like
Yeah.
when I think of webinars, I think of people like Russell who are like Chad and Kathy's that are like excited and that want to talk, and someone like me that's more reserved that likes to kind of stay back and not necessarily be the face of a lot. I thought that webinars were just for people that were extroverted and loud, but like Russell, who's an introvert, and like you have people like Jamie Cross that built her entire company based off of webinars. I started meeting all these people that are terrified to speak to someone one-on-one, making millions of dollars online just by doing webinars. And so anyway, I always want to open up that window to everyone. It's not just for a specific group of people. Man, this thing there's so many wide ranges of people, and it's literally the funnel that I've seen change the most lives, just in a single funnel itself. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's nice because it gives you a chance and ability to like when you're talking to your audience, like to spend time with them, right? It gives you
Mm-hmm.
time and seat. So like you can build a relationship quick. You can warm up traffic from cold traffic to warm to hot very quickly. You can make them offers. They're more expensive, which makes it easier so you can afford to buy ads and a whole bunch of other things like that. So
Yeah, it's
um,
super
so
cool.
so I was talking a little about strategy first. So there's a concept I haven't talked about for a little while, but I used to go deep in this framework we have called the linchpin. How many of you guys know what the linchpin is? It's still my favorite thing. In fact, we were in Mexico last week. I did 2 sessions on the linchpin. But in the linchpin, there's this thing we have in the middle of it. It's called the dramatic demonstration. So you do something dramatic to get people's attention, so they will come and they will register to see something, right? And so there's all sorts of cool dramatic demonstrations. So webinar is just, in my mind, is a dramatic demonstration, right? And so a couple of things is like you can do webinars based on a lot, like just based on things are happening in real time, like that Bitcoin webinar. The reason why it did so well is because Bitcoin is like everyone's talking about it, was growing like crazy, and they like this is what the market's talking about. Let's build a webinar based on. Let's build a presentation, a dramatic demonstration based on this thing people are talking about. Right now in the market, what are people talking about? Talking about AI. They're talking about war. They're talking about tariffs. They're talking about like all things in the news right now. It's a great thing. Big. Okay, I'm going to create a dramatic demonstration, aka a webinar, to talk about this thing. Right. Another really cool example of a dramatic demonstration that is a webinar. Some of you guys know Tim Shields. Tim's spoken in the last 2 or 3 funnel hacking lives, and he's in the photography market. And Tim's really fascinating because in fact, I wonder, Ben, if you could find one of his webinar funnels while we're sitting here while I'm telling the story. So I'm putting Ben to work right now.
Challenge
He was
accepted.
playing this. Um, if not, I can find one too. But Tim Shields has got like 10 different webinars that he runs right now. But when he does webinars, it's not just like, I'm going to do a webinar with me doing PowerPoint slides. He thinks about it differently. I want to get attention. I want to get people to register. I want to get people to show up. And so he tries to do things that are exciting, that are dramatic, right? So what he does is he'll go and instead of just doing a dramatic demonstration at his house, his office, he'll be like, where would my audience want to go, right? Is where somewhere they want access to that they don't currently have access to. So for him, he's like, what if I did a webinar on the side of the Grand Canyon? And so he like filmed himself going out in an RV, him and his wife, they go to the side of the Grand Canyon and they actually do a webinar there. Yeah, here's boom, here's one of his one of the webinar registration pages. You scroll down, you can see like he takes people on location. He does these webinars like at certain places, right? So like the side of the Grand Canyon, and he got Starlink, set up a camera, and he did a webinar on the side of the Grand Canyon. And his registration rate was huge because he's like, I'm going to the side of the Grand Canyon, come check it out, right? And then people showed up because they wanted to see it live. Then he did one in Banff, Canada, where he's like went to Canada, out on the frozen lake, and on the frozen lake did an entire webinar. In fact, I'm not in the photography market, but I went and watched the entire webinar. It was so cool because he's sitting there. On this lake, the wind's blowing like crazy. Like his lights are like blowing in the wind, and there's gone, and he's like trying to do this whole webinar, and he like loses access to the internet. And it was like this dramatic demonstration that he crushed it with it, right? And so it's just like thinking about these things a little differently. In fact, I remember Tim Shields when we were when he was first talking about dramatic demonstration with me, he looked at me, he's like, Russell, he's like, where's some place that your market would love to go, they can't go? And I'm like, I don't know, we're a bunch of computer nerds. He's like, Dan Kennedy's basement. He's like, you should take people to Dan Kennedy's basement and like do a dramatic demonstration down there. And so if you guys remember, like 8 months ago, something like that, we did a dramatic demonstration. It was a webinar at Dan Kennedy's house, but we told this story of like, come to Dan Kennedy's house and like, we're gonna do this whole webinar. It's gonna be amazing. Okay. So that's kind of what a dramatic demonstration or webinar is. I want to show one more thing, and then we're gonna go into the actual templates. Let's see. Okay. So a couple of things I'm thinking about when I'm doing a webinar funnel. And again, this is the strategy stuff, and we'll go into actually building it. But like what I found is very rarely, if ever, have I seen a video on a webinar registration page increase conversion. It almost always kills conversion. So that's number one. Number two, I want the webinar registration page to be simple. So for me, it's like a picture, a headline, and a button. That's about it. That's pretty much the core things, right? And I want to have a lot of curiosity. The more curiosity, the better. Okay. If somebody can figure out what you're going to talk about by reading your headline, like, hey, I'm going to do a webinar teaching you guys how to build a funnel. They're like, oh, okay, well, if I come to the webinar, I'm going to learn how to build a funnel. Like if they know what the answer is, first off, they're not like as likely to register because like I already know this, or maybe I'll register, but they may not show up because they think they may already know this, right? And so the registration pages we have that do the best have a lot of curiosity where you can't guess what it is just by seeing it, right? Like this is the webinar that built ClickFunnels. Like listen to this, like the headline: my weird niche funnel that's currently making me $17,947 per day, and how to ethically knock it off in less than 10 minutes. Now, number one, though, I would never use this headline again, primarily because the income claim, like we've steered far away from that. So don't ever say income claims. Like that's not the example I'm showing here. More so just like, look how much curiosity is in here. Like my weird niche funnel, like why is it weird? What niche is it in? It's currently making that much money a day. And then how to knock it off and how to ethically knock it off. How do you ethically knock something off in 10 minutes? There's like 7 or 8 curiosity points in there, right? And there's a weird picture of me with my fingers like this, holding a funnel page. It's like there's so many things like, what is he talking about, right? You can't answer it by looking at it. There's so many questions that first off, you have to, like, I have to register because I have no idea what he's talking about, right? And so what happens is the cost per acquisition drops dramatically, right? Because I might go from like $20, $30 to get a lead down to like $2 or $3 because it's so much curiosity, right? And then the show up rate's not like 10, 15% like a lot of people. I'm gonna get 35, 40%, 50% show up rate because there's so much curiosity built into the page. And so that's what I'm looking at when I'm building a webinar registration page. When I consult people, it's just like if I know what's happening on the webinar by just looking at the thing, then I'm not gonna register or show up, right? So that's the number one thing. Okay, so that's page number one. It's very simple. Page number two, we typically do, you have a registration page. Then page number two in the funnel is where they register. Now you're like getting them excited about the thing they're about to experience. And so I get them excited. What we do, if you follow the linchpin formula on this page, then I offer them a trial, right? It's like, hey, get the free trial to ClickFunnels right now, right? You can also sell a self-liquidating offer, SLO, on the thank you page if you want to. Okay, if you notice, I'm like, hey, here's the webinar. Get your free ClickFunnels trial, and I did the SLO, and get your copy of .com Secrets book. You want all of these things, right? So before the webinar happens, I'm already making money. People are already joining ClickFunnels. People are already buying the book before they ever even get to the webinar, okay? And then the webinar happens, and the webinar is done. You push them to an order form, and that's basically a webinar funnel, okay? Very simple, very easy, 3 pages, and of all the funnels, it is the coolest of all time. So that's some ideas. And I hopefully you guys got 1 or 2 cool ideas from stuff I shared right there. So rapid fire.
Yeah, it's super interesting. I feel like the curiosity-based standpoint is something that we kind of started morphing into and realizing like, oh man, if we laid everything out, it's not interesting enough for people to want to sit and be a part of this for the whole hour. Because the whole part of the webinar is that they actually stay. And so keeping that curiosity as they go through the webinar is super important. And we also want them to obviously opt in. And so And I feel like that's probably harder now than it was before, but the people that are actually coming in are such quality customers, and it's been really fun to do webinars and we're still doing webinars actively within Russell's business, and super fun. So, okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to dive into the ClickFunnels side of things. Yes, we're going to talk about funnels, people. It's okay. We're good. Everyone breathe. Let's dive into the editor and let's have some fun. So we are giving you 2 templates, and then if you like what we create in this, we can go ahead and make a third. I'm just going to kind of go, Ben, stop me whenever you want to interject, or Russell, but we're going to kind of just dive into ClickFunnels and the beauty of what ClickFunnels is. Let's see. I'm going to screen 1. I'm going to click share. Okay, let me know if you guys can see my screen, please.
We can see it.
Yes.
Boom.
Okay. Oh man, I don't even know
Look at this beautiful funnel.
Yeah. Look at this. I mean, I saw this of Tim's page. Like, this is popping #1 on Google when you type in Tim's name. And it just goes to show, like, there's so many different ways to approach webinars, as Russell's showing you in the different examples. And there's so many different like styles that you can do, but there's key elements that you just have to have on all these pages. And we're going to kind of go through that really quick. So not only are we supplying you with an amazing funnel, so this is the template that we're going to give you, super easy. Webinars are very, very, very basic because we want them just to do the thing. We want them to get in the webinar and to register for it. And then from there, once they're in the webinar, obviously we're going to be pushing them to obviously attend the webinar. That's the #1 thing we want them to do. So when you go into ClickFunnels, you'll see over here on the left-hand side, you'll see the tab funnels. You'll click that. It'll then take you to all of your funnels. So you can either go over here and start from scratch, or you can click the link in the members area with all of the links for our templates. And then you can just download those and it'll throw them directly in here. You'll have it in your funnels tab, and you can click that and immediately go into, if you want to start from scratch. I actually love just doing this from a personal standpoint of learning, where if you go to create new and then you go down to webinar funnels, Russell breaks down everything he just talked about. So how you build a webinar, why a webinar needs to be built this way, everything. So I always suggest to go there. And also, if you, for whatever reason, don't like the template that we use, that we've used for, I would say, 2 solid years now in this placement, then we also have other templates that you can use here. There's so many of them. They're awesome. They were all created by my team. We put a lot of love into this. And so anyway, these are all there for you inside of ClickFunnels. So when I download this template, I will go into the editor. I'm going to click edit, and we are going to get into ClickFunnels. So this is going to load for a sec. Yeah. Okay. So if you notice, based off of Russell swipe files, we based this off of one of our very own webinars that did really, really well. We want you to be successful. We've split tested this. This is what we came up with our webinar. We want to give you the same amount of value for yours. So if you look at this page, there are all these different elements, and we're going to kind of go into each and every piece. But like Russell was saying, it's all about kind of creating that curiosity hook at the very beginning that's going to draw them in. And so if you notice here, we have a cool typography positioning of the headline, which is so important. And like when I met Russell, I noticed that this meant a lot to him. When I could easily go like this and grab this information and put it here and do this and like have that be my headline. And a lot of you guys do that.
And Russell's twitching like, no, don't do that.
And the reason being is, like, if you want this to be interesting, and typography, whether you like it or not, it makes it interesting. What I mean by typography is creating a variation within the text that you have. And so we purposely do this in our templates so that you have a better understanding of, oh, okay, I can put a little bit of subtext here, like who am I trying to draw the intention towards? And then here is like the overarching statement that I'm trying to make that I want them to pay attention to. And then subtext is, you can use it, you can't, you can easily delete this if you don't want it. But that's just kind of solidifying what you said. A lot of times the subtext is just literally breaking down kind of what's going to happen, what's the curiosity that they're that's going to want them or make them want to register down below. This is also something that we do quite often, which is like, we want to make it overly known that this is a free, or if it is a paid webinar for whatever reason, but we want to solidify like this is, you register for free here. So typically we put kind of a loud contrasty background on something like this that really stands out and jumps out to people so that they can see like, hey, this is free. So when we read left to right, as all humans do, well, I guess in the Western hemisphere, you can really see this broken down. So we go from this attention. Most people will completely ignore what's up here. A lot of times this is aesthetic, but they'll go from the headline, they'll move their way down here, they'll see this, and then they'll go directly to here. That's exactly what we want them to do. We want to have the trust of your product. So number one, is it possible to buy this product? That's the one thing you always have to ask yourself when you see a webinar. Do I have a button here? I do. Can someone see it? They can. Is it easy for them to see and to interact with and to do? 100%. So if you have a funnel and your button is nowhere to be found above the fold and it's floating in some crazy atmosphere in your funnel, you are shooting yourself in the foot. Like you are doing yourself such a bad disservice. Like, please have your information. You want them to do what you're asking them to do. Do not hide that whatsoever. And so that's why we have this right here. So number one, can they do what you want them to do? Absolutely, they can. And then number two is, what is the product? Is the product a person, or is it an actual product that you're trying to sell? So here over on the side, we can see a person. Typically, we have Dancing Russell here. So like if you go, like Russell was saying, if you go to salesfunnels.com, who is our attractive character? It is Rusty Brunson, right? So I have Russell here. He's looking at you. He's excited. It looks like he's about to say something. I go through hours and hours and hours of photos of Russell, and I'm always like, Russell, you speak so fast that like we can't get a still of you without your lips being like blurry.
It's hard.
So a lot of times when he's recording, I'll go behind the camera and just say, just interact with the camera really quick. We'll take a quick shot. Or Matt Pete, who's one of our videographers, photographers in the office, will do this for us as well, which is just grabbing the persona in motion. If you're doing this, like you were seeing with Anthony and Russell, that webinar where there's two people together or multiple subjects, you just have to make sure that the photography matches. So for example, if Anthony's on stage and he's speaking and you're using that picture, make sure that the other subject is doing something very similar. Because if there's just like a simple headshot and then someone speaking, it kind of looks weird. It just throws it off, like the dynamic of it. So anyway, you want your attractive character. You want them to see why they came here in the first place. For us, Russell's our attractive character. He's the one that's selling you the products. So we want to show Russell right away so that you have that sense of comfort when you land on this page. So for you, what is that product? Is your product an attractive character, or is it an actual product? And that's something to always ask yourself, and make sure that that's very, very well known right here on this visual. And like Russell was saying, you could put a video here if you wanted to. We haven't noticed any difference in our conversions. Well, I mean, we have with images being out converting video, but if you really, really want to have a video there, it's totally possible. We have other webinars that we have done videos for, just kind of explaining what we're about to do a little bit more. But yeah, that's something you can do here. And then this, if you don't want this, again, this is just kind of helping people understand there's a free bonus. We learned this from Tim Shields, where if they watch the entirety of the web class or the webinar, they get a free bonus. And so there's always an incentive at the end, a lot like, I don't know, a thing called Funnel Fridays, which is if you sit through this and you go through this, we give you a link to where you can download these. So we purposely do that. So anyway, Russell, do you want to talk more about that, the free bonus? I always thought that was kind of interesting. We kind of integrated that just this last year.
Yeah, for sure. So if you look at Tim Shields' webinars are really fascinating. He rarely promotes the webinar. He's just promoting a freemium. So it's a free premium, right? So it's like, hey, register for the, in fact, click back on Jake, if you, on your screen, the Tim Shields one there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one right there. Notice he's like, the offer's like, hey, get this $47 book for free when you register and show up to my live event, right? And every one of his webinars, he leads that with like, hey, do you want this free copy of the book? Cool, register for my event and show up. At the end of it, I'm going to give it to you. And so he gets people to register and show up by offering this premium. So we start adding these more and more into our webinars, and it helps people register, helps people show up, helps people stick to the end, which is really good. And so typically when like if you look at like the actual presentation, the way we weave it in is usually the very beginning of your webinar, you're like, hey, I told you guys when you register, you can get this free thing. Don't worry, we're gonna do that at the very end of this. Do not leave. And I always tell them like, I'm not gonna be emailing you the link to this. I'm gonna be verbally telling to you, therefore you must be on or else you're gonna miss it, right? And then usually before I start selling, I'm like, hey, before I transition, before I tell you more about my special offer, don't forget I'm going to be giving you this thing at the end of it, so don't leave. And I go in and do the offer, and then after the offer's done, I'm like, okay, thanks for sitting through it, guys. Here's the link to download the offer, and then I come back and I keep pitching again. So that's kind of how we structure in the presentation. But if you notice, like, yeah, right here, so if you go to salesfunnels.com, if you guys want to watch it in action, go there and register, and you'll see how like where I weave in the pitch for the funnel audibles throughout the presentation to get people to stick. Yeah, it works really, really good.
And a lot of times this is like your number one chance to build rapport, I feel like, with your customers. And so it's like if they don't survive through the whole webinar, you can't quite get them to that point. And so this is just another purpose for them to want to stay and be a part of what you're doing. So anyway, I think that's awesome little tidbit that we've added over the last, I would say, year and a half. We've thrown this into a lot of our different webinars. But so anyway, very, very, very simple. When we go to mobile, again, mobile is super important. Let's kind of clean this up a little bit. So if you notice, like the headline's a little stacked and it kind of looks a little weird, we did this on purpose because I want to play with this. So if you're on mobile, you can edit something within your style guide. I'm just going to override this and do this for the sake of time, but I can mess with my mobile settings here and make this look the way that I want it to, which is really, really cool. So again, go to your editor, click on any element that you want to. For example, I'm clicking this headline here, and then I'm going to go to override and edit this and play with this. Also, if I wanted to, I could change this color to make that stand out a little bit more. I can make it like a crazy red. There's so many different things you can do. We're noticing that 90% of our traffic that we're getting from mobile is coming in, and it's coming in from a different angle. And so I feel like a lot of times we need to hit them with something that's very, very simple right from the get-go. And then a lot of times what I like to do on mobile as well is I like to grab the button here and I like to move it up. So I move it up above the fold. Typically, I'll also move this image. I'll duplicate the image and put that above the fold too, because our subject is super important for them to understand that this is the person that's presenting this webinar. I'll shrink this down a little bit. Again, this isn't affecting my desktop. It's just affecting my mobile side. So yeah, and then a lot of times I'll shrink this as well. Again, it's all like, it's such important real estate that you're getting everything above that fold. And what I'm meaning by the fold, when you would read a newspaper back in the day, it's like what's right in front of your face the second you pull it up and put it and start to read it. So we're wanting this information to be here. So if I move this up and I wanted this to be here, the only thing I have to do is click this, and then I want to make this a mobile only setting here, and then I want to make this a mobile only setting here. That way it doesn't appear on my desktop page when I present that. So definitely make sure that when you're building these funnels, you're revisiting mobile. So a lot of times when I have my desktop style, I'll have it all laid out, I'll convert it to mobile, and then I'll start playing with everything again, just making sure that everything speaks the same language and it looks really good. So yeah, play with that, have a lot of fun with that. Realize there's two settings. If you look down here at the tab, you can see what is linked. So this particular element here, if I click it, that's linked to desktop. This is clicked to mobile, or it's connected to all, meaning desktop and mobile. So you can distinguish what people are seeing there and have a lot of fun with that. So I'm going to
real quick, Jake, someone asked, I think it's a good question. Jason asked, he says, overall, do you find it best to optimize for mobile versus desktop? I know both are important, but where do you find most people are watching and seeing your ads?
So we're definitely seeing a massive, massive surge and a wave on mobile for sure. So typically what I do, I tend to position things on desktop first, but what I actually do, and you don't have to do this, but this is kind of a little ninja hack that we do on our side, is we'll duplicate the headline and then we'll make this desktop only headline. And then we'll also make this headline a mobile only headline. So again, this only shows on mobile, and then this only shows on desktop. The reason being is the way that you read something on a computer compared to what you read on a phone is vastly different. And also, if you notice, my button wasn't above the fold. It needs to be in focus to where they know what to do. Again, can someone buy? Number one,
Can they
do you
find the
have the
link?
ability to buy? If you can't, if they can't buy, why are we doing this? And that's one big question. Always ask yourself, can my customers buy this product? And so right now, the way that we have the mobile set up, they actually can't. So we need to change that on our side. So to answer that question, I personally design for desktop first. That's typically the way that we view it and see it. And then I immediately go to desktop. I create the headline and kind of take out what was in the desktop version of it and I throw that in the garbage. And I think, okay, if I were reading this as a consumer, what's the easiest way I can read this and be interested in it enough with this little amount of real estate that I have?
Yeah, and it's interesting. I think it was like 6 or 7 years ago was the first time that we saw in our traffic where mobile was more than desktop. And nowadays, for sure, mobile is more than desktop. And so knowing that, it's like, and also like a lot of times mobile version, you're gonna cut out a lot of stuff. Like desktop, you may have
Mm-hmm.
long form stuff. For mobile, it's like someone might not scroll 8 billion times to read through your thing. So it's like a lot of times we hide just big old sections to make it tighter and faster. Especially on a webinar registration page. You only again you need just a couple elements. So it's like realizing that don't think of mobile as an afterthought. Like it's like after you built the funnel desktop base, then come back and just do this. Or some people just, we have a lot of friends who just they know their traffic's on mobile, so they even though they design desktop, they're like mobile isn't gonna have two columns. They do everything in one column just so it's easier to get into mobile than desktop. But yeah, don't make no mobile afterthought. Like make sure that's a thing you're definitely focusing on.
Yeah, and it's something that we are like constantly growing on with ClickFunnels. We're improving this more and more and more every day with the way that mobile's presented and the difference between desktop and the way that mobile looks and stuff. And so you'll start seeing a lot of changes over here on the side when it comes to just the way that everything's laid out with padding. And what I'm meaning by that is, so you'll see a icon over here. So if I adjust this, so the gap, so if I want more spacing in here, I can play with this here, but that's just for desktop. And if I go to mobile and I start playing with that gap, it'll just affect the mobile side of things. So you can kind of have fun with it. Obviously, we've already done the hard work of getting this positioned the way it needs to be for you with the templates. But if you want to jump in and play with that, yeah, definitely feel free. It's super fun to kind of dive in and see the power of ClickFunnels and everything that it has to offer. So yeah, that's really webinars. I mean, it's very, very simple, but yet so powerful. It's like the David versus Goliath. It's like this little teeny funnel that just is going to pack an awesome punch. But again, I think webinars have this stigma where it induces fear in a lot of people. And a lot of times when I talk to different clients, it's like, what are you comfortable with? Are you comfortable with this and how you want to approach this? And I just, like, for people like me that definitely the last thing they want to do is stand in front of a camera and sell people. Like Russell like thrives on that. I'm like, I'm scared. But it just know, like, there is a fun, subtle, like humane way to do this, and it's beautiful, and it's just a really good way to indoctrinate yourself with your customers and just have a really good time. Honestly, there's people that do this on a weekly basis, and it just substantially grows their business
Oh,
in such an awesome way.
really quick, before we go to the next page, can I show everybody like some Barnumisms?
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah. Let me
Please
stop and
do.
share.
All right, really cool. All right, so a couple things that we've done. I am actually on page two. I'm going to go back to page one because I didn't want to do anything if Jake was in page
Oh,
one. But
I just canceled everything I did, so you're good.
okay, we're good. All right, so really quick, one of the things that's really nice about Barnum, when you guys get the swipe file, because you're sticking around, oh, if you do, well, let's see if Russell gives it at the end. One of the things that you're able to do is you'll see Barnum sitting here when you have the Chrome extension downloaded. If you click on that and you say, open up the tool belt, you'll be able to see your swipe files all right here. So you'll be able to see, should Russell choose to give you these webinar swipe files or any of these swipe files, you can open this up, click on the webinar funnels, and then you are able to see which funnel it is that you actually want to model. So I'm going to model this one really quick. Go ahead and click on that. And I've got that. Now I can see that and start building right here step by step. So that way I know exactly what I'm looking at and I'm able to edit over here in this window. So the swipe files are great, but you don't want them in a whole bunch of windows and trying to figure things out. So you're able to do that. I can minimize it. If I need more room, I can maximize it. You've got all of that. Same thing if you're taking your own screenshots, you can see it all here. If you've saved colors, you can save it there. All right. So first off, that's free. Everybody gets access to that. But what if you want help like writing the copy? Russell was like, I want this to be like our frameworks inside of Barnum. I want to make sure this is working. So what we did is if you come over here and you click on scripts, so this is an upgrade inside of Barnum, but if you open up Barnum scripts, in Barnum scripts, you can choose to create voices. And so we've created, let's see, oop, I don't have my preloaded voices in here. So we've got, you can add a voice. So you could add a Russell voice, you could add your own voice, you could have a voice specific to your audience. You can put down each of your offers, like what it is that you're giving. And then you can put down who your avatar is. And then once you do that, what we're going to do is we're going to come down to one to many. Because that's what Russell, these webinar presentations are doing that Russell's created is literally you're doing a one presentation to many people instead of one to one. And so we're going to click on one to many. And we're going to see that you can choose your offer, you can choose your avatar and your voice. And then if you come down, there are lots of scripts available. So we have webinar titles. You have the 5-minute perfect webinar if you're doing something similar to ecom. You have opt-in page copy and you have confirmation page copy. Now, something really neat about this that, I mean, it's nice for it to write your copy. But if I do product titles, this has 38 questions that are being answered in the background in order to create this. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go over to here. I'm going to grab this one, this headline here, and I'm going to go ahead and paste it over here. And then I'm going to go back and grab this right here. And we're just going to see if Barnum can give us a couple more ideas. All right. We're going to come down and just say auto answer. Now, what it's going to do is it's going to start answering all 38 questions. Some of these have like only 2 questions. Some of them have 4 questions. This one has 38 because its goal is to give you a whole bunch of ideas for your one-to-many. So I'm actually going to turn this on fast mode. And it's going to go through and answer all of these on rapid fire. So that way I can see what would you do to transform my business? How do I win? What motivates people to take action now? It's going to answer all of these questions for a specific demographic. So that way I have ideas of, am I going the right direction or not? You can see all of that right away. So once this gets done, you're also able to generate options that'll generate the copy. But all of this is built out in order to make your life just a little bit easier. If you're stuck and you're like, but I'm just not sure, open up Barnum Scripts. Come and figure out what it gives you as an idea. So what is an ideal customer? It says, this is probably your ideal customer based on the information you gave me up here. What is a noun that describes them? How do they describe themselves? How do you describe your ideal customer as a group? What is a long-term desire that motivates them? And you can go through all of these and kind of figure all that out. When I generate all the copy options, now it's going to give me a whole bunch of answers that I'm able to use. So discover the game-changing software that entrepreneurs, small business owners, and digital marketers, and marketing agencies are raving about. In this exclusive workshop, you'll uncover 3 powerful secrets that will transform the way you approach live webinars. So there's a whole bunch in here, and you can get these just right. Barnum, once again, is available. Barnum Scripts is available. You can do a powerful script like this, or you can do one of many others that are far simpler. So lots of flexibility and lots of tools for your opt-in page and your confirmation.
So Ben, you're giving me the 2 objections. You're giving me copy and you're giving me a template to build my webinar. What other excuse do you have?
There is no excuse. There is no excuse. Honestly, we're showing you the walls that have stopped everybody, and we're breaking them down step by step. So yeah. I saw somebody actually say, I love the design. I can't see this design inside of ClickFunnels right now. How do people actually get that design? How does that look?
Wait, before we do that, can I ask one more favor, Ben, while you're open?
Please, go for it.
So a lot of people are asking, they see the ClickFunnels page, but how does the webinar actually happen? Will you show real quick, how to connect it to Zoom? So the way we do it personally is when we do the live webinars, we use Zoom. So we connect Zoom to it. So someone registers and it puts them to Zoom. If we are doing an auto webinar, we use Webinar Fuel, which is what the webinar we did yesterday was about, Webinar Fuel. And then you can automate it. Someone kept asking, is there custom code in Russell's pages? When we're doing the Zoom one, no, because they're registering, they're going directly to Zoom. When we use Webinar Fuel for an automated webinar, Webinar Fuel gives you a widget that you place in your page, and then from there, they're registering, and then it takes them into the Webinar Fuel to display the actual thing. So that's answers 2 or 3 questions in there. So yes, show us how to add Zoom to connect you to the webinar page.
So really simple. This used to be complicated. You had to figure out Zapier and do all these things. This has become very, very easy. So there's this lightning bolt on the side of every single page. And if you click on that lightning bolt, you can add automations. These are your emails, your text messages, unlocking courses or locking up courses or whatever you want. A whole bunch of automations that you're able to create. We're going to create a brand new workflow. We're going to call this webinar opt-in. And we're going to fire this off and have everybody actually go through this when they opt in on the page. I went too fast. Let me give it just a second. One Mississippi, two Mississippi. There we go. All right. So now I'll call it webinar opt-in. Come over here. I will delete this afterwards, Jake, so it's not cluttering up your beautiful workspace.
You're good. This is an edit. This is a sandbox. So
Okay.
you can do whatever you'd like.
Ah, fun. All right, so we're going to click create workflow. So I've got it for when they opt in on the page. We're going to put them into the new workflow called webinar opt-in. All right. So once this workflow is created, you'll be able to see you have the trigger event. That's when somebody opts in. Okay. You can add multiple trigger events. We're not going to go into that crazy. What you want to do is you click on the plus and you have a lot of things. You can send your emails out of here. You can send PDFs. You can pause them in the workflow. You can delay it for a little while. You can send them to another one. You can give them tags. You can notify use. That way you can get notified when people are opting into your webinar so you can freak out and do a happy dance. You can do a whole bunch of different stuff. What we're going to do is we're going to come down to third-party integration. And if you click on third-party integration, you're going to be able to find there's a whole bunch of apps that ClickFunnels connects to right now. It's all available. All you have to do is click on what you want to do. And you can see Webinar Fuel is actually here. So we can do Webinar Fuel here, or you can use their custom widget and do some advanced things there. So you can do either or. I'm actually going to click on Zoom. And then all it's going to ask is for you to walk through the steps in order to integrate Zoom. Now, I don't think you're able to see the pop-up that I get. But all it's doing is it's verifying that you have a Zoom account. And then you figure out which account is it set up for. Now, there's a whole help doc on how to do this step by step. Click on help, come over here and say integrate Zoom webinar. And if I spell webinar right, then you're going to be able to get everything that you need. So it's going to have a full document that's going to, here's how to integrate Zoom webinars and meetings. You got this entire article that's going to teach you how to do it. You can also open this article in a whole other tab because there's just a couple of things you need to get right. But overall, it's as simple as clicking on a lightning bolt, clicking on a plus, and then verifying that everything that you have set up is right. So, and then it shows up right there. Nice and clean.
Yeah, super, super clean. This whole flow like literally holds you by the hand and takes you through it. It's so nice the way that they've made all this.
Oh, does that make life a little bit easier?
So easy. You guys all getting this?
Cool.
Webinars are the greatest.
Webinars are the greatest. Let's
Okay.
go.
Well, that said, should we talk about something cool we can for you guys? How many of you guys be interested, first off, in the webinar funnels that Jake built for you guys? Jake's on this side of me right now, at least on my screen. How many of you guys want the swipe file that I built inside of Barnum for you guys? If you want that, let us know. How many of you guys are like just want a webinar that's crushing it and you want to make tons of money and like blow up your business with a webinar? Because if so, you're gonna need templates and you need a swipe file. So it all fits together in a beautiful thing. Now, what I want to do is I want to sell these to you, but unfortunately they won't let me. They said that we gotta give you guys for free. So we got a free page for all this stuff. I don't know what the page is. What do you guys have it? You can pull up real quick and show, and then we can
I've got it.
get everybody the link. So everyone get ready. We're gonna share the link with you guys. On this link, you'll get the download for the swipe files and also for the pre-built funnels for you guys. And it is on funnelfridays.com/webinar. We gotta start making these harder so people don't guess them.
I was just gonna say that.
Webinar 9244. This page is up now, but we'll be pulling it down in the very near future. We want to give you guys a chance to have to go in there and be able to grab them. So funnelfridays.com/webinar. There's the registration, the templates. You click there, that button. I'm assuming that puts it, it's share funnel right into ClickFunnels, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Copy
Yep,
this whole thing
frameworks it
over.
right in.
So you get a copy of that, and then scroll down a little further, and then there's my swipe file. As long as you have Barnum account, it'll copy that into your Barnum account. If you don't have a Barnum account, where do they go again, Ben, to get their Barnum account?
Yeah, just go to this page and click right here. You also can go to barnumpt.com.
And a lot of people were asking, is this just a Chrome extension? It's not. It also works. and
Correct.
Oh yeah,
Edge
Yeah.
as well.
Safari, Chrome,
Yeah.
Mozilla. I don't even know. For most of them, right?
It may Firefox right now. Yep, absolutely.
Firefox.
Just
Yeah.
use Chrome. If you're not using Chrome, just
Yeah,
use
use
Chrome.
Chrome. It's absolutely awesome. So yeah, all you have to do is go to funnelfridays.com/webinar and you can get both of these right now, both the all the designs that Jake provided, Russell's swipe file, and then if you upgrade, you get to have some really cool fun stuff with swipe and copy. So it's a whole bunch of blast.
Very cool. Okay.
Sweet.
Well, there you go, you
Russell,
guys.
is something happening in about 10 minutes?
Yes, in fact, here, throw a screen back to me. I'll show you guys exactly what's happening. So if you don't know this,
Whoop.
um, once a week, I go live with a very small segmented group of our audience. And it's really, really fun. And I'm going live in 10 minutes. How many of you guys would love to jump on live and ask me any question you want and get it answered live today? So you will get unstuck from wherever you are. How many of you guys want a live thing right now? If you do, all right, we got Ronnie says, heck yeah. Lisa's in, John's in, Tom's in, Tiffany's in, Holly's in. Okay, if you guys want me, once a week, I jump on live on Friday and do a call. And this call is just for people who are active ClickFunnels members who are inside of the One Funnel Away Challenge. So if you have an active ClickFunnels account, you have access to One Funnel Away for free right now, just so you know. If you don't have an active ClickFunnels account yet, you can go to onefunnelaway.com and go and create your account. And then you get access to the One Funnel Away Challenge. And the coolest thing is in One Funnel Away Challenge, there's 2 tracks. There's one track if you want to be an expert. We're going to teach you guys how to actually build and script a webinar. If you want to do e-commerce, then Trey Llewellyn does a whole track right here. It's a 30-day program, though, that walks you step by step how to build out and launch a webinar funnel or how to build out and launch an e-com funnel. You can pick whichever one you want, or you can do both, whatever you want to do. But this is free for all ClickFunnels members. So if you are a ClickFunnels member, you can log into your account, click on the button, and we're doing Q&A. We go live in 11 minutes from right now. If you're not a member yet, you've got 11 minutes to go to onefunnelaway.com, go create your account, your ClickFunnels account right now, and then get in there and then jump in there and jump on the live Q&A call. So if you have any questions for me, I'm ready to rock and roll for the next hour with you guys. But you got to go in right now. Ben, do you have the spot where if they already have a ClickFunnels account where they can find it real quick? I don't know how to even pull that up. You know what I'm talking
Yeah,
about?
I think I've got it. I was looking for it really quick. Let me show you everyone where it's at. So
So if you already have a ClickFunnels account, log in. This is how you can jump on live Q&A with me here in 10 minutes.
yep. So if you're here, there should be a pop-up that shows Russell's face, so you can do it. But if you're waiting for that pop-up and it doesn't show, go ahead and come over here. You can click on Learn and Connect, go to Training Courses, and you'll be able to log into the One Funnel Away Challenge. And then from here, it's as simple as coming over and registering for the call. So I believe it's under, nope, Community opens the whole tab on the side. That's the different one. Yeah, ClickFunnels selling online funnel builders. It should be here. We should
We got to
have
make it
this.
way easier now.
We got to make this far easier.
Rule number 1,
Yeah.
how do people buy? Just kidding.
Haha.
Okay.
Yeah.
And by the way, oh, check that. You guys see the One Comma Club award? So this is the new award. I would help you make your first $1,000 on the OFA challenge, and you can win one of these awards right
Oh,
here, which is so
cool.
cool. So, anyway, yeah. Note to our team who's probably watching this, we need to make sure that the link to register for the live trainings is somewhere on this page so people can find it very fast and very easy.
And it does also pop up as a pop-up when you're live in your ClickFunnels dashboard. Whenever you guys go live, it'll pop up as well. So
Okay, so go watch. We'll be live in 8 minutes from now. So, all right. Well, thank you, Ben. Thank you, Jake. Thank you all you guys for hanging out. I appreciate you all. Again, if you go to, what was the link in? Funnelfridays.com/webinar to get all the links for stuff we shared today. You guys will love it. We appreciate you guys all. And hopefully I'll have a chance to talk to you guys all in 9 minutes from now. So,
yeah.
anything else before we bounce off, you guys?
No, we love you guys.
Appreciate you.
Thank you all. See you guys next week for the next Funnel Fridays.